Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we are going through reading passage 2 from Cambridge IELTS 10, test 1, titled European Transport System 1990 to 2010. Before we begin, here's a quick tip. If the reading passage has both true, false, not given and matching headings questions, it's often easier to start with true, false, not given sections first. That way you move through the text in order, which helps you understand the passage better. But as always, check the questions yourself and see what works best for you. So, alright, now let's move on to one of the most common and sometimes confusing IELTS type question types, true, false, not given. So here, as you can see, question 22 to 26. A quick reminder, what do these means? As you can see, true, false, not given. True means the passage clearly says the same thing as they said. False means the passage clearly says the opposite of the statement. And not given is the passage doesn't say anything about it. One tip I need to tell you. In this test, I actually recommended starting from true, false, not given before doing matching headings. Why? Because true, false, not given questions are more detailed focused, and as you read for them, you'll naturally get a better overview of each paragraph, which helps you a lot with matching headings. Let's look at each one in detail. So as you can see, the first question says that the need for transport is growing despite technological developments. Let's see our keyword, which is the need for transport is growing. Let's read it together. So as you can see, it says that the requirement for transport continues to increase. So the answer is true. The next one says to reduce production costs, some industries have been moved closer to their relevant consumers. As far as good transport is concerned, group is the turn up there have been published. The years moved from star economy to a following. This phenomenon has been emphasized by channels to reduce production cost, even though the production site is hundreds or even thousands of kilometers away from the final assembly plant or away from user. So the answer is false, because it says sites in hundreds or even thousands of kilometers away from them. So here the answer is false, because it says in the question they are closer but they are moved much more far. Next question says that cars are prohibitively expensive in some EU candidate countries. Let's read it together and see what we can find. European cancels. Cars in European cancels. Please. So here I can find one of my keywords. No, I don't find anything about the price of the car in this. Let's move on to the next, see that we can find it here too or not. So as I search, I can't find it, so the answer will be not given, because it doesn't say anything about it. Next one, the Gothenburg European Council was set up 30 years ago. So let me find out if we found this one. So our keyword is 30 years and the Gothenburg European Council. So let's read it. achieved but proposed measures are not less a first essential step toward a sustainable transport system which will ideally be in place in 30 years time, that is by 2040. So here again we don't have any information about setting up the Gothenburg European Council. It says it's 30 years ago, and the answer will be not given again. Final one, by the end of this decade, CO2 emissions from transport are predicted to reach 739 billion tons. So let's search for this number. Yes, here as you can see we have the number, and let's find out what says in the paragraph. So here as you can see, CO2 emissions from transport can be expected to increase by around 50% to 1,000 billion tons by 2020. So compared to 700 billion tons recorded in 1919. So the answer will be false, because in 2020 the amount will be increased more than 50% as 1,000 billion tons. So the answer will be false. So as I said, the answer will be false. So let's move on to our next question, which is list of headings. Always base your answer on the passage only, not your knowledge. If it's not clearly mentioned, it's not given. Alright, so let's move on to the matching heading questions 14 to 21. This question type can seem tricky at first, but with the right strategy becomes much more easier. Matching heading strategy. Each paragraph has one main idea. You need to match that idea to one of headings in the list. Headings are paraphrased versions of the paragraph's main points. They don't use the exact same words. Be careful. So we are looking for general topics of each paragraph, not small details. Let's go through paragraph A to E and G to one by one. So first of all, as you can see, paragraph F has already been answered. So we can delete this one and paragraph F. So we don't need to read it. So let's start with first one, paragraph A, as we can't read it. And also automatically we can reduce the limit. The number of cars on European Union roads saw an increase of 3 million cars each year from 1980, and the next decade will further substantial increase in fleets. So as we can see, let's move on to our headings. Read it one by one, a fresh and important long-term goal. So this one is not our answer. Doesn't talk about charging roads and something like this. Changes affecting the distances goods may be transported. We don't have it again. Change transport pattern. We don't have it again. The environmental cost. We don't have it. The escalating cost of rail transport. No. The rapid growth of private transport. Let's. The answer is this, but we can read another, so see to be 100% sure about it. Plans to develop major road networks. No. Restricting road use through charging policies alone. And the last one, transport trends in countries awaiting EU emissions. So as you see, the answer will be VIII, the rapid growth of private transport. The paragraph talks about the growth in car use. It says car numbers increase by 3 million each year. The phrase spectral growth in car use makes this match very close, as you can see. Car increase of 3 million cars each year, and this one. So our answer would be VIII. Let's move on to the next. As far as good transport is concerned, growth is due to a large extent to change in European economy and its systems. In the last 20 years, internal frontiers have been abolished. EU has moved from stagnant to a flow economy. This phenomenon has been emphasized by relocation of some industries, particularly those which are labor-intensive, to reduce production costs. Even the production site is hundreds of, even thousands of kilometers away from the final assembly plant or away from user. So as you can see, talk about a goods transport. So let's find out which one has this topic. Yes, as you can see, we have this changes affecting the distances goods may be transported. So the answer is this. So this paragraph focuses on goods transport. As I said before, it explains how economic changes and relocating industries cause goods to be transported longer distance. And the keyword we have here is relocation, thousands of kilometers, and final assembly plant. So let's move on to the next one. Paragraph C. The strong economic growth expected in countries which are candidates for entry to the EU will also increase transport flows. So another tip that I want to tell you is that for finding your answer in matching headings, most of the answer will be in the first and the last sentence of each paragraph. And you can read the first sentence or last sentence of each paragraph and search for answer in your headings. Let me do it for now and see if we can answer to it or not. So as again, we should read it, and says the strong economic growth expected in countries which are candidates for entry to the EU will also increase transport flow. So let's talk about candidates to coming to EU. So let me find it if we can say it. So here the answer would be XI, because the transport trends in countries awaiting EU admissions. Why? Because the paragraph discusses candidate countries for joining the EU. As I said before, it shows how their transport habits changed, especially moving from rail to road. And the last one is it also gives statistics from 1990 and 1998 to highlight this shift. And let's move on to the paragraph D. However, a new implementation offers an opportunity for adopting the EU Common Transport Policy. This objective agreed by Gothenburg said. So here also, however, a new imperative, a new plan. Sustainable development offers an opportunity for adopting the EU Common Transport Policy. So let me search for it. So as you can see, this one will be V. Why? Because it says the environmental cost of road. No, I'm sorry about that. It's not V. Let me read it again. However, a new imperative scientific development offers an opportunity for adopting the EU common transport policy. This object agreed that Weigert, and so it's talking about a plan which they have, and Gothenburg also adopting with this policy, and it will take a lot of time. As you can see, takes 30 years, and if we search for it in the topics, you can see that there is working cost. So let's again, a fresh and important long-term goal. So the answer will be I. So let's move on to the next. And why is this one? Because this paragraph introduced sustainable development as a new goal. It mentioned that this idea came from a Gothenburg European Council, and it's described as a long-term vision, ideally by 2040, making these headings a perfect fit. So let's move on to the next. In this one, as we remember and we read it together, it's all talking about CO2s and environmental and the CO2 emissions. So as we know about all of this, we should search for something causes or something like this in our environmental. So as you can see, this one, the environmental costs of road transport. So this one is our answer, because we have environmental in the passage too. Let's move on to the next, which is G, because paragraph F, as we remember, they answered to it. The first approach would consist of focusing on road transport solely through pricing. This option would not be accomplished by completing measurement in other models of transport. So, as I said it before, we can just read the first and the last sentence of paragraph and see what we can find in headings. The first approach would consist of focusing on road transport solely through pricing. So it says we can do it by just getting money from people. So let's find it. You can see it alone. So as you can see, the answer will be X, because it says restriking road use through charging policies alone. In the passage we have solely, here we have alone, which is our keyword. Let's move on to paragraph H. The second approach also concentrates on road transport pricing, but is accompanied by measures to increase the efficiency of other modes, better quality of service, logistics, and technology. However, this approach does not include investment in new infrastructure, nor does it. So the answer would be, let me search for it and see which one is our answer. So as we answer this one, we can remove them, so we can find our answer better. Remove them. So we have IX, VI, IV, and II. Charging for roads and improving other transport methods. So here our answer will be II, because the paragraph includes pricing for roads and measures to help other modes, like improving quality and logistics. And also, it doesn't include infrastructure investment, which is key to why it's still not fully effective. And the last one, paragraph I, The third approach, which is not new, comprises a series of measures ranging from pricing to revising alternative modes of transport and targeting investment in the trans-European network. So as you can see here, the approach will be continuous and will be something that is full. So here our answer will be this one. So let me first remove II2. We have taken all the steps necessary to change transport patterns or the escalating cost of rail transport and plans to develop major road networks. So the answer will be definitely IV, because it says that taking all the steps necessary to change transport patterns, all steps, and the answer will be IV, because here again says that series of measures ranging from pricing, transport, and targeting investment in trans-European network. Awesome work today, everyone. We've just finished breaking down Cambridge IELTS 10 Reading 1 Passage 2. Together, we learned how to tackle matching headings and true-false not given questions using smart strategies and keyword analysis. Remember, IELTS reading is not just about reading. It's about thinking like the test and building skills step by step. If you found this lesson helpful, please like the video, drop a comment if you have any questions or if you want help with another passage, and subscribe so you never miss the next detailed lesson. I'll be covering every passage in the Cambridge IELTS books one by one to help you prepare confidently and efficiently. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, happy learning and keep practicing.